Jake was 48 when he tied the knot for the first time. His bride, Amanda, had just celebrated her 30th birthday. Nearly everyone he knew warned him against it, pointing out the 18-year difference between them. They said she came from a different era, with different beliefs and priorities. But Jake didn't care. Every moment with Amanda felt like a gift, and the idea of coming home to a young, spirited wife filled him with exhilaration. They had first crossed paths at a cafe. Jake was deep in conversation with a business associate over lunch, while Amanda sat nearby, chatting with friends over coffee. He was immediately drawn to her carefree energy, and before he knew it, he had found a way to start a conversation. One thing led to another, and soon they were seeing each other. Their relationship blossomed through thoughtful gestures, bouquets of flowers, late-night strolls through the city. Amanda made Jake feel alive again, like he had been given a second chance at youth. Her presence alone fueled him, making him believe he could conquer anything just to see her smile and feel her fingers intertwined with his. At the time, Amanda worked in HR. No matter how many times Jake playfully suggested she leave her job and let him take care of her, she refused. She valued her independence too much to rely on him financially. He would often watch her in the mornings as she got ready, mesmerized by her golden skin, feeling incredibly lucky to have her by his side. "I interviewed a few candidates for a new position yesterday," she mentioned one morning while buttoning her jeans. "One of them starts today." Jake loved the way she spoke about her work with enthusiasm. "How about a dinner date tonight?" he suggested. Amanda's face lit up with a smile. "That sounds perfect." She gave him a quick kiss before heading out the door. That evening, he picked her up, and they went to an elegant restaurant. Jake had long since grown accustomed to the lingering glances people threw their way. Seeing a man his age with such a stunning, younger woman always seemed to draw attention. But he didn't mind. If anything, he wore their stares like a medal of honor. He loved everything about Amanda, her charm, her confidence, her youthful radiance. "So, how was work? Did you hire anyone?" he asked as their meals arrived, the aroma filling the air. "Yeah, actually, we took on 2 new people, Ben and Stacy," she replied. Their conversation flowed effortlessly, laughter mixing with a soft hum of live music. They savored their food, exchanged lingering glances, and beneath the table, Jake let his hand trail along Amanda's thigh. She shot him a playful, tipsy grin, sending warmth surging through him. Over the next few months, though, he began noticing subtle changes in her. She had grown more affectionate, more attentive, always cooking for him at home instead of insisting on their usual nights out. One evening, he teased, "What's gotten into you? Feels like you're making up for something." Amanda shrugged casually. "Don't be ridiculous unless you don't like it," she teased. Jake chuckled, pulling her into his arms. "I love it," he assured her. But despite the reassurance, he couldn't ignore the way her phone kept buzzing, more than usual. And every time she checked it, she angled the screen away from him, something she had never done before. When he asked about it, she simply said work had been hectic and she needed to be available around the clock. Then came the night she had to stay late at the office. Jake sent her a quick text, "Be there soon." She read the message, but never responded. Still, he drove over to pick her up, parking outside the entrance. A short while later, he spotted her stepping out of the building with a young man beside her, someone who looked barely out of college. They exchanged a brief hug, both smiling. A sharp pang of jealousy struck Jake's chest. Instinctively, he honked the horn. Amanda turned, spotted him, and gave a casual wave before slipping into the passenger seat. "Who is that?" he asked, his voice steady but firm. "Just a coworker," she replied with ease. "Remember the new hires? I told you about Ben and the other new intern," Amanda said lightly. "That's him." She let out a soft laugh. "Can you believe he's only 19? He's so shy." Jake felt a knot in his chest loosen. If she was talking about the guy like he was just a kid, then maybe he really was overthinking things. He reminded himself to stay rational, to stop jumping to worst-case scenarios. His mind had a tendency to spiral, and he didn't want to let paranoia ruin his marriage. But Amanda's late nights at the office became more frequent. And every time Jake showed up to pick her up, she'd be with Ben. It gnawed at him, but he bit his tongue. The one time he had confronted her about it, the fight had been explosive. She had packed a bag and moved into a hotel for an entire week. He didn't want to go through that again, so he buried his doubts and pretended not to notice. Then, one warm summer night, she stopped answering his messages altogether. From the parking lot, he could see the light still glowing in her office window. His pulse pounded in his ears as he climbed the stairs to the third floor, a gut feeling warning him that something was terribly wrong. The hallway outside her office was eerily quiet. The door wasn't fully closed, left open just a crack. And then, through the silence, he heard it, soft, muffled sounds. Gasping. Stifled moans. Jake didn't stop to think. He shoved the door open. Amanda was on her knees. Ben stood before her, his jeans pulled around his ankles. Her blouse was discarded on the floor beside them. For a moment, the room stood still. Then chaos erupted. Ben fumbled to yank his pants back up, his face twisting in panic. Amanda, still half undressed, sat frozen, too ashamed to meet Jake's eyes. Jake crossed the office in 3 furious strides, grabbing Ben by the collar. The kid whimpered, his entire body shaking as Jake drew back his fist, ready to strike. Then suddenly Ben broke down in tears. Something about the pathetic sight of him sobbing stopped Jake in his tracks. Disgusted, he released his grip, and Ben bolted, his footsteps echoing as he tore down the stairs. Jake turned to Amanda, his chest rising and falling in ragged breaths. His voice was unsteady when he finally spoke. "What did I do wrong?" His words cracked under the weight of betrayal. "I gave you everything." Amanda burst into tears, her face crumbling. "I don't know, Jake," she sobbed. "I swear I don't know. I couldn't stop thinking about him." Her voice broke as she trailed off, unable to explain the inexplicable. Then, as if trying to erase the damage she had done, she threw herself against him, clutching desperately at his neck. She kissed his cheeks, again and again, whispering, "Please forgive me. I'm so sorry." For a while, Jake tried. He really did. For 6 months, they lived in a storm of bitter arguments and agonizing memories that refused to fade. No matter how hard he fought to move past it, the image of that night haunted him, Amanda on her knees, Ben standing above her. The betrayal played in his head like a film he couldn't turn off. Eventually, he hit his breaking point. One evening, he told her to leave. Not long after, he filed for divorce. In the months that followed, he thought back to his younger years, the dreams he once had. He had always wanted a big dog, a nice car, and the freedom to drive anywhere he pleased. Maybe now was the time to chase those dreams. His heart was still raw, the wounds still open, and he wasn't sure if he'd ever be able to trust again. But at least now he was free. As for Amanda, she stayed at the same company for a while before eventually relocating to another city. She remarried, but that relationship crumbled as well, even though she had a child in the process. Somewhere along the way, Ben followed her, and for a brief time, they attempted to make something work between them. It didn't last. In the end, Amanda found herself alone. Maybe that was fate's way of ensuring she never forgot what she had done. She had shattered the heart of the one who loved her most, and karma had made sure she paid the price.